Greetings, greetings, greetings. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. Islam, Islam, Islam. Hotep, hotep, hotep. Que pasa, que pasa, que pasa. I say greetings, greetings, greetings. Power to the people, power to the people, power to the people. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? God bless, God bless, God bless. I'm back home, as y'all see. I had a great trip. It was magnificent. It was divine. It was something that I can't really put in words to describe the essence of. You know, we do our best to explain ourselves, explain our experiences, explain how we feel, and explain what we're going through. But there's nothing like going through the experience, you know. Family, there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on, but I think y'all know what I mean. There's a lot of high vibrational energy emanating in the ethers. A lot of things are changing. And let me interject a lesson that I gave, that the chosen one, the enlightened, the awake, see certain changes that appear to be bad as an opportunity. Because if you think about it, all those that say y'all believe in God, that follow God, how can anything be bad? You know the devil's purpose. You know the story of Job. You know the story of Job. Job was tempted. He was tested. He was challenged. You know what I'm saying? God didn't mind the devil going at Job, because God already knew Job's heart and how Job was built. Okay? He was solid, and he proved to be solid under any and all conditions. Sometimes some situations can be real difficult, and they have the potential to break us down. But as I said, it's an opportunity for you to exercise your greatest strength, maintain your faith, apply the knowledge that you acquired, and you're going to overcome. You're going to triumph every time. You see what I'm saying? So it's not time to be sad. It's not a time to be angry. It's not a time to be upset. It's not a time to be anything low vibrational. Anything that's not beneficial. Anything that's not uplifting. You see, this is a test for you to stay focused on the Most High, on high vibrational, on positivity, you know, on the good, because it's triumph over evil. You see what I'm saying? Fam, this is spinach, kale, banana, what's it called? cayenne, and I didn't put too much cayenne in it this time. Last time I put, boy, so much cayenne in it. Ooh, wee, burn, burn, burn. I couldn't even finish taking it. So I put a little bit this time. And carrot juice mixed into a juice. And I tell you, fire. When I mean fire, when you drink it, you feel it. You feel it immediately, fam. Immediately. As far as my trip, as far as my divine journey that I went on, that I'm still on, it don't stop. It was successful, okay? And so now I'm still in the process, of my mission, and there's a few other things I got to prepare before I set everything up. So it's still kind of like on a level of hush hush until I can get everything together, and then I'm gonna explode. I'm gonna manifest. You know what I'm saying? This divine gift. Okay. For those that know me, know what kind of time I'm on. Y'all know I got a heart of gold. Okay. It's just my journey lately has been to uplift self. Okay, because I done been through some changes. I done been through some experiences. Some that y'all already know. Okay. And it's been a struggle, but like all struggles, I embraced. Not all of them have I embraced pleasantly or joyfully. You know what I'm saying? Some I didn't like and somewhat resented, Some I suffered a great deal of pain because it touched my heart. But a great lesson came out of that. So it's a alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? Everything should be a alhamdulillah. All praise due to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Allah. So that's the reason why, man, I don't hate nobody. I may dislike certain people's ways, and to dislike something is just basically set it over there. You see what I'm saying? That's not compatible with my energy. So I got to separate. You know what I'm saying? That's common sense to me. Okay? For some circumstances and situations that you separate yourself from, you have to do it a couple of times, because first, you might have to do it a few times, because the first couple of times you weren't successful. And the reason why I wasn't successful, and the reason why you might not be successful, is because you may have failed in keeping that separation. You see what I'm saying? From situations, circumstances that wasn't good for you. Because your heart was in it. You know what I'm saying? Your heart was in it. Your emotions was in it. Your feelings was in it. And a lot of times when we put our feelings and emotion into things, we get attached. And sometimes the things that we are attached to are not healthy for us. Like addictions, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, addiction for lying, addiction for deceiving, addiction for manipulating. There's all kinds of physical conditions, physical addictions and mental addictions, because there's traits. What's another word? Behaviors that we take on for satisfaction, gratification, pleasure, that is not healthy, and we have to break those, for our own good. Everything should be decided based on the greater good of yourself. Okay. And I mention these things because I'm attempting to relate with people in different situations and circumstances, not just outer, but inner. Okay, and I say that like that because the lesson is your outer is just a reflection on your inner. If you change your mind, your circumstances change, your situations change, your outcome change. You have to show a level of commitment to your highest being in order for your highest being to give you with the very thing that you ask for, that you desire, that you need, you know what I'm saying, and that you deserve. But you can't feed your lower nature and expect gifts from your higher nature. Okay? Well, let me give you some ideas of lower nature. And my intent was to just share about my journey, which I covered it. I'm back home. I'm safe. I'm overjoyed. I've accomplished what I went to do. And I tell you, it wasn't no easy task. I had to push. I had to endure. I had to rest. And I had to get back to it, because I'm determined. I'm motivated. I'm encouraged by love for self and others, my family, you know what I'm saying? And since I've been back, I have gifted a couple people so far. And that makes me feel so great inside that I was able to give somebody something. You know what I'm saying? Well, they ain't had to come out their pocket. You see what I'm saying? And I gave them life. I gave them life, fam. But I gave them life in the sense of the physical. Something that will allow their bodies to heal. So I'm going to say on that, the same way I give y'all life through my words. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm about. I'm about life. I ain't about death. And by the way, I'm still going strong with no smoking. You see what I'm saying? And I'm proud, I'm excited. I feel good. My energy has increased. My consciousness has increased. My awareness has increased. I'm more in tune. I'm satisfied with my words and my performance, and through my clarity, it has allowed me to see things that I might have missed before. It has allowed me to respond in ways that I normally wouldn't respond if I was up under influence. And I didn't really see that until I didn't see that while I was up under influence, because when you're up under influence, when you respond, you see it was good. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times it might not have been sufficient. It might not have had the impact, you know what I'm saying, or the effect that it should have if I was sober or if I wasn't up under influence. And for real, being up under influence of something, you're not really reliable. You're not really dependable or accountable. Okay? I'm not saying that you shouldn't smoke, drink, or do whatever what you do. It's a time for everything, you know? It's a time for everything. And like I shared before, my intent is to go 2 weeks to experience clarity, you know, to find out what's going on inside of me that I felt I had to medicate, that I had to calm down from. And I'm still discovering, you know, hasn't really hit me yet. I can only experience what I've been going through lately. And if I was to estimate, it's been approximately, it's probably almost 14 days, 2 weeks, you know. And even though my 2 weeks is up, I want to keep going because I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate a clear mind. Because I always ask myself, why you got to be high? Why can't you be in a natural state of mind, a clear mind? Like I said, sometimes we do things with the intent, with certain intent, and we get comfortable in it and we forget why we're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing we're interfering with our potential. Okay? And I'm a thinker. Okay? I'm an analyzer. I'm a researcher. Which basically says I'm a scientist. Okay? And through being a scientist, I benefit from an abundance of information. Information that frees my mind from lies, misconceptions, disbelief, burdens, imprisonment, and the devil, and undisciplined. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people don't value, you know, the opposite of what I just said, you know, as far as discipline, you know, clarity, and that's because you never had it. Love, you never experienced it. You know, you might experience a form of love, and you might have experienced love, but you didn't recognize it. You couldn't identify with it. Matter of fact, you probably got scared of it and ran. Okay? Because it was unusual to you. It was something you didn't believe in it. Because it was new. It was different. See, I go towards things that are different. Things that don't make sense. Things that I don't understand, overstand, or understand. I gravitate to those things. And I do that as far as what I can recall, my experiences, At one point, I come to realize that the very thing that we was taught to stay away from, not indulge in, was the very thing I needed to indulge in. You know what I'm saying? And be a part of. Because I come to learn that somebody was trying to keep the truth from me. Somebody was trying to keep me from being free within myself. Somebody tried to keep me in a box. Somebody tried to kill me. They tried to kill my spirit. They're trying to keep me down. And me being who I am, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't having that. Even in my low, I was determined. Y'all know what I did to go penitentiary, you know? And let me speak on that. Since the thought just hit me. Because, and I'm not saying this to down the people that were involved, that I'm speaking about, which I'm not going to mention no names. Those who listen know who I'm talking about. Or you may not. It's not important. But it's the message that you're supposed to get, because from me sharing, you may have experienced similar, but yet not identify with what you learn from me sharing. So this message will be very beneficial to you. Or some of y'all might be going through it right now and not see that you're being set up by the very people that say that they love you. But guess what? So, it's an experience you got to learn from. Everything that occurs in your life that you have to go through is for your greatest good. Okay? And I'm speaking from wisdom, not from ignorance. So if you're in an ignorant state of mind, you're not going to comprehend unless you take the time out and open the windows of your heart, which are your eyes, your nose, your sense of taste, your hearing, and your sense of feel. You know what I'm saying? Because all these are the senses that allows your brain to comprehend the outer. Okay? I gave a lot of examples. Now I gotta go back where I started. Yeah, those that's going through it right now. At least that's as far as I can remember. I think that's where I started from. So, with that being said, when I was 13, I vowed to rob a bank one day. And what influenced me was several things. My uncle, Keith Merle, robbed the bank. Okay? But it wasn't just solely the fact that he robbed a bank that made me want to desire to rob a bank. It was how, particularly my mama, and I can't say for sure anybody else, or I can't remember who my mama was talking to on the phone about my uncle and his activities surrounding the bank and the money he's supposed to get from the bank. But I remember the level and the type of attention that it got, and what was so valuable to them, which was they wanted some of that money. And if they could have found out where he hid that money, because he was in the penitentiary, that's what it was. He was locked up at the time, and they was contemplating where he could have hid the money. Okay? Which I never learned later if he had the money, some money hidden or put up somewhere or not. Okay? I guess I could do some research and find out, look into his case, and find out if they retrieved all of the money. If they didn't, that means he got away with some money. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been through it. You know, it's just what happened in my situation. They got all the money back. Well, most of it. Okay. But the thing that got me was my mama wanted the money. You know what I'm saying? She desired money. Okay. It's obvious why she desired it. She was poor. You see what I'm saying? Another situation was a female that I was with. And her complaining about wanting this, wanting that, needing this, needing that. Like my mama always done. You know what I'm saying? And females have a way of manipulating you to get what they want. And I already seen that even as a young child, I noticed that people cared more about what I could give them than who I was. You see what I'm saying? And that didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? Which, in my ignorance, led me to satisfy them. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to satisfy them because of who they was and what they meant to me. You see what I'm saying? So I told myself, I'm going to rob his bank. And I'm going to give them what they want because it was getting on my nerves. I mean, real talk. Stressing me out. You see what I'm saying? You know, because I didn't have it like that. You know? And the jobs I was working, they didn't pay like that. I didn't have no skills or talents that I can, you know, go and apply for a job to where they pay me top dollar for my skills. You know? I went to, when I was in high school, I took up vocational. And, but that didn't work out too well because I ended up getting put out the class. No, I ended up getting bad grades. And it was because other things that was going on in my life. And I didn't know how to manage my personal life with my responsibilities. So if I had certain things going on in my relationship, it definitely affected my job. Because I let it affect my job because I seen the relationship as more important. My priorities was out of order. Okay? So the point is, people complain about where you lack, what you're doing, what you're not doing, what they want, what they need, which puts pressure on you. Because like I said, I wanted to please. And that helped me, so to speak, make my final decision to do what I did. That's not blaming nobody. Okay, I accept full responsibility because I made a choice. I could have not decided to rob the bank. But because I vowed and the energy was in me and I knew I was capable, because I always believe I can do anything that I set my mind to because I was determined like that. And a lot of things I was determined to do, I wasn't successful in. Same as the bank. Even though I got away, I didn't stay away. Okay? I'm sharing this because I want y'all to be mindful the kind of pressure y'all put on people. You see what I'm saying? Particularly those you say you love. Because sometimes you can complain about something and all it takes is for somebody to hear your complaint and have a desire to please you, and they'll go out and do something stupid trying to help you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of my decisions that I made coming up, as far as selling weed, selling cocaine, eventually robbing, it's around being poor, not having good things, and seeing my mama struggle. Nobody wants to see their mama struggle, especially when they don't understand that life is a struggle. It's a part of life. You got to embrace it, you know what I'm saying, and learn from it and improve yourself in order to overcome those struggles and be successful. But there's a right way to do everything. Okay? And when you're not taught, when you're not educated, when you're young, you have to rely on what you do know or what you think you know. And sometimes it's not sufficient, which is the reason why a lot of people end up in a penitentiary, dead, in the hospital, in a psych ward, or end up moving, getting away from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or isolating themselves, you know what I'm saying, within their own world and not allowing anybody in because it's safe that way. You see what I'm saying? So learn to love by being responsible for the things you want and need, and not put that burden on somebody else, because you never know what they might go out and do to please your selfish ass. You see what I'm saying? And then a lot of times, if even the person went out and did something stupid and gave you what it is you always wanted and always needed, you're not satisfied. All you're going to do is want more and more and more, which puts that person in a greater risk of being killed, going to penitentiary for the rest of their life, or going away for a long time. You see what I'm saying? Which if they go away, guess what? They can't provide for you no more. They can't fulfill your needs and wants no more, which is a good thing, because your selfish self shouldn't get the things that the person was giving you. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't done righteously. You know what I'm saying? And that's not love, fam. That's not love. It's not love at all. But you got a choice to hate. You got a choice to be selfish. You know what I'm saying? You got a choice to be a greedy person and not care about other people sincerely. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about what you say out your mouth. It's not about the lies that you tell yourself. It's about the truth, because the truth is the light of the world, the light of your world. And a lot of y'all don't have no truth in y'all world. That's the reason why you ain't free from the very thing that imprisons your mind, because you caught up on the outside. You know what I'm saying? And you're neglecting the inner. That's why you're miserable. That's why you're unhappy. That's why you're sad a lot of times. That's why you're constantly going through your ups and downs. Okay? They say you get wiser when you get older. And I think it's because you go through a lot of experiences that teach you a lot of things. Which is the reason why it's important that when you learn something, that you share it with others so they won't have to go through what you've been through. Okay? Which is one of the main reasons I do what I do. I share my experiences in hopes you don't have to go through what I went through, fam. And that's showing love. A lot of y'all not in a state of mind to accept my love. And it's not nothing personal against me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just another voice in your head, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because you allow me in. But at the end of the day, you have to decide out of all the voices that you hear, which one are you going to listen to? Which one is best for you in your situation and in your circumstances? Okay? It's just like if I offer you life, are you ready to live? And if you are, you're going to accept my offer. But if you're not, you will continue to die. You see what I'm saying? There's a individual whose name I won't mention who showed intent towards helping. And I believe I was blocked. I'm not going to express how I done it, try to help. But the intent was expressed. The effort was put forth. But I think this individual feels a certain kind of way about me. And which didn't allow me to help. So I got to accept that. You know what I'm saying? You see, I'm in tune. You don't have to say nothing to me. You don't have to do anything. And I still know what's up. I still know. Because in your silence, you speak. And I hear it. When you speak, I hear it. So regardless of what you do, I pick up on what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not stupid. Because I'm learned. Because I'm experienced. Okay? That's why they say knowledge is power. But it's more so the application of knowledge is powerful. Because you can have information and not act on it, not carry it out. So therefore, there's no power in it. The power comes in the application. Because that's where you receive the benefits. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't just about knowing, because you can sit and have a conversation with somebody and they can express something that they heard or read, okay? And they still not know what they're talking about because they never applied the information. They never benefited from the information. They just heard it. But it's good that they got the information because it's better than not having the information. Wait a minute. No, I said that wrong. It's better to have the information than to not have the information. Because without the information, you can't act on it. But with the information, you can make wonders happen. You can make miracles happen. You know what I'm saying? You have that capability. You have that power. And I love power because power benefits me. Now, I ain't talking about power over people. I'm talking about power over me. It allows me to control myself in a way where it's beneficial, it's healthy. It keeps me safe physically, mentally, and spiritually. Okay? And it's nothing like being safe on all three levels. That's called salvation. You know what I'm saying? I said that's called salvation. See, people talk about them being saved, but they still a prisoner of their own body, of desires. You know what I'm saying? They still a prisoner in their own minds because they're constantly suffering every day from minute things. You know what I'm saying? And they still lost and ignorant of who they truly are, meaning they God self, their higher self, their righteous self, their enlightened self, however you want to call it, their spiritual self. Okay? And when you're not being your true self, means you're being fake. You're being phony. You're pretending. You're living a lie. You see what I'm saying? You know. And when you live a life like that, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. You're constantly seeking relief, but you seek relief in things that's causing you the very problem that you're trying to relieve yourself from. Okay? I need to start playing my music. It seems like just something's missing. It's like it's too quiet. You know what I'm saying? But can it be too quiet? You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should play music in my head as I speak to balance things out. But now what it is, I'm used to playing music. But the reason why I was able to play music with my videos, because I had two phones. I had one phone playing the music through the speaker. The other phone, I'm doing the video. But I lost my phone. And I have yet to get another one. Because my means of getting things is changing. Okay? It's changing with the times, so to speak. Because there's times for upliftment, there's a time to transition into what is real. So I can't use the things I used to use to obtain the things I want and need because it's not real. So I gotta wait for the new to come, which means I gotta sit back and be patient, you know. And this is only in certain things because I have to survive. So I try to limit myself just on the things that I need and not necessarily the things that I want. Okay? Remember I shared that with y'all a long time ago for those who's been following me for some time? When I was in the joint, I used to get a little money in from, you know, family, friends, and different things. And I want the cakes. I want the food out the commissary because it's better. That's why they sell it and don't serve it in the kitchen. And I would get caught up in that and not get the things that I need. I'm not saying I did it all the time. Certain times, I took the money and got exactly what I need: deodorant, soap, you know, what else was it? Toothpaste, you know what I'm saying, toothbrush and things of that nature, you know. But then other times, my desires were so overwhelming that I neglected certain things. I get some things I need, but my money would be so short that I couldn't afford to get what I needed and what I wanted. So I cut off one of my needs to get something I wanted and plan to ask somebody else to look out for me on what I need. You see what I'm saying? And that's taking advantage of people. I didn't realize it at the time that that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But that's a form of manipulation. You see what I'm saying? It's devilish. It's selfish. You know? And me being a self-analyzer, I analyzed it and I kept it real with myself. You know? And I stopped. I stopped doing that. Stop taking advantage of people. Because when I need something, I want to be sincere that this is what I need. So when I ask somebody, you know, they may have it like that. Hey man, can you get me, and I get you back, or I, you know, and trust me, I don't ask for nothing without expressing that I'm gonna get it back. And if I say I'm gonna get it back, I get it back. You know what I'm saying? People know me for that, you know. But even though I was a solid dude, I still had my mistakes. I still had my weaknesses, you know, that I didn't identify with at the time. But as I grew, I started to identify, and I'd be like, nah, you can't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? So, like today, you know, I focus on my needs and get the things that's going to bring about some good. You see what I'm saying? When I'm trying to refrain from doing something a certain way that's not overall good in spirit. You see what I'm saying? I wish I could be a little bit more detailed, but maybe in the future I can. But some aspects of my business I keep to myself. And I know some of y'all probably shocked because I've always been the type of person, man, I share everything. You know, but I learned you can't share everything. You know, because people will prey on you. You know what I'm saying? Because they energy demons. You know. And I used to have a lot of energy demons around me. And I learned from those experiences. You know, I had to go through it in order to learn to realize how to perform better or in my best interest. You know what I'm saying? Which is, again, is the reason why I'm a loner now. You know, I only want certain people around me. You know, I don't want energy demons around me. And a lot of people don't know they're energy demons. But through you cutting them off, they come to learn there's something about them that ain't right. Because Merle Bay ain't the kind of person that just cuts you off to be cutting you off. You see what I'm saying? It's a reason I cut you off. There's something about you that's not right. And instead of me arguing with you about it or pointing it out and you disagreeing and having an ill feeling, I just leave you alone. I leave you alone. Let you live your life. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to let you live your life imposing things on me that's not beneficial to me. That ain't how I move no more. You know what I'm saying? That ain't how I move now. Okay? So, and it's important that I do these things because as I do things and share the things that I do with y'all, it reflects on you all. So, me being a man, I got to be the best man I can, and being the best man I can, I understand and understand that I'm setting a better example. Okay? Which is how you teach. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about your children. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about your brothers and sisters. I'm talking about your aunties and uncles. I'm talking about your mom and your daddy. I'm talking about your grandma and grandpa. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about your friends and your associates and your companions and so forth. Because a lot of things we need to know, we don't know because there's nobody around us that's setting those examples. Okay? So since I know this about my community, it's important that I stand up and set a better example for my family, for my community, for my nation. You know? And it costs. You know? But the reward is great. You know what I'm saying? I lose people. You know, people don't want to mess with me no more. And I'm cool because I understand why. They not ready, you know, to accept what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? They're not ready to change. They're not ready to mature. They're not ready to grow. They're not ready to improve. They want to stay in the streets. They want to keep doing drugs. They want to keep lying. They want to keep manipulating. They want to keep sinning. They want to stay in a state of being deaf, dumb, and blind. Because they found comfort in misery. Know how they say misery loves company? Misery loves company. Misery is a state of mind. And when you're in a miserable state, if you deal with anybody, you're causing them pain, discomfort, uneasiness. Yeah. And that ain't love. I mean, man, check this out. And this baffles me right here. I didn't listen to tarot readers. They going through their cards, but they cussing like a quarter horse. And they turn around and cuss at their children. And then when they hear their children cussing, they correcting them. They correct them. And I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, do they not know that their children is imitating what they hear them say? You know what I'm saying? But see, that's not bad. It's just that that person has yet to learn that you teach by example. If you want your children to do good and do better, they got to see you doing good and doing better. You got to set the right example for your children, because if you don't, your children going to do exactly what you do. They going to do it in your face, or they going to do it behind your back. So if you want some good children that's angels, so to speak, you got to be a good woman. You have to be a good man in order to produce good children. Okay? That's the only way that works. You want your children to be successful? Be successful. You know what I'm saying? Because children are from the Most High. They learn from what they see you do. Hold on, let me check this out. It was a foreign number, you know. And a lot of times we don't like answering calls we don't recognize the number from. But I come to learn recently that some calls can be opportunities. So I found a way to deal with people that call. So I tell them in one aspect, I say, may I help you? You know, I don't say hello stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because hello means go to hell. Okay? A lot of y'all ain't been taught that. Y'all ain't up on that. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Whether you believe it or not, I know what I'm doing, what I'm saying. But I say, may I help you? And sometimes they don't say nothing because the operator that's calling you, a lot of times this operator, is triggered by you saying hello. Okay? And then it'll jump in and start talking. So when I don't hear nothing, I say, speak now or forever hold your peace. You know, they don't still say nothing, so I say peace, and I hang up. So that ain't the call. I have debt collectors that call me, you know, debt collectors that I don't choose to pay. I intentionally don't want to pay because I don't want your service no more. Okay? I don't want your service. So catch the hint and be gone. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't try to go back and forth with nobody. And then I've learned things about the system that leads me to deal with the system in a different way. Okay? Another thing I may say when I answer the phone, I say state your name and nationality. Because in a lot of times when I say that, they hang straight up. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have a nationality, then you operating illegally. It just don't go for the corporations who's been tricking us all this time and getting us to feed our demise. Because corporations don't care nothing about you. Okay? They don't give a damn. They just want your money. You know what I'm saying? Your monopoly money. You know what I'm saying? They know you don't got no real money. The whole scheme is to get you to play this monopoly game with the corporations, which give the corporations a false sense of power. It's false because the real power is within you. And you give your power away when you give in to their game. When you play their game. You can never win at their game. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm learning the game, I'm learning how to deal with them in a different way. So a lot of times y'all might see me go through some experiences. That's only because I called a corporation out on their BS. And guess what? I might have to experience something. But I'm prepared. You see what I'm saying? I'm prepared physically, I'm prepared mentally, and I'm prepared spiritually. So like I said, everything that happened to you is not bad. It's an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And I create every situation in my life. Nothing sneaks up on me without me knowing it. Because I created it. And I take responsibility for everything that I create. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people may not understand. They ain't supposed to understand. If you choose to be deaf, dumb, and blind, you definitely ain't going to comprehend nothing I do or say. You know? And that's not my problem. Open up the windows of your heart. You know what I'm saying? And like a flood of light, a heaven will come. Knowledge will come. Solutions will come. Love will come. You know what I'm saying? The truth will come. And it will change your life around for the better. You would do a 180. A lot of people say you'll do a 360. But 360 leads you right back to where you started. You see what I'm saying? So you do a 180, which is the opposite of where you at. You get that? Okay. With that being said, fam, pretty soon, I'll be ready to finish or complete another stage of my divine ministry where you will be able to see with your physical eyes and the offers that I will be making. You have opportunity to accept or reject depending on your state of mind. Okay? Because it's all up to you. My job is to give you love. It's on you whether you're going to accept it. Okay? Or identify it as love. Okay? Because if you identify it as love, then you're going to be overflowed with love. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's all I got to give. You know what I'm saying? And if you find me doing the opposite, understand, overstand, and understand that I'm first doing it to myself before I can do it to anybody. Okay? And if I find myself doing wrong to myself, I'm going to correct it immediately. Okay? Which can save somebody's life. Starting with mine. You see what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about just the physical life, your mental life, and your spiritual life. Because anything you do will affect you in all three areas. Like a brother used to demonstrate when I was in the joint. He used to say it's a lot that we operate on a three-dimensional plane simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a physical body, you got a mind, and you got a spirit. These are different levels that you can operate on. And the system that you're living in, even though it's changing, which y'all ain't seeing the change. Y'all complaining just like y'all always complaining and don't identify that the changes that's happening today is to your benefit. But you don't have a brain to comprehend. You know? Your Jesus has came back 1,000 times. But you ain't accepting him. Because you think he's a pale man that's going to come from in the sky. Appearing is going to pull you up. That's symbolic of pulling you up from the physical to the mental to the spiritual self. Okay? It's all allegory. So once you understand what it means to be lifted up, you know what I'm saying? To be saved from. Once you understand that, then you can identify when people speak and you'll be able to comprehend what they mean by it. Because the truth is not physical. It's spiritual. Okay? So when you see somebody physically speaking, a physical being that's talking, one, you have to have a sharp mind to comprehend their words, to understand and understand what's being said. And from that understanding and understanding, it resonates within your being, which your being is spiritual, and it activates something in you to where you know, like, woo, that was powerful. Man, that was some deep truth. Because only the truth move you like that. Okay? So lift your thoughts to infinite wisdom, fam. Come up out of her. Come up out of the physical world and the toys that you're constantly seeing people playing with. And if you want to play seriously. It's kind of like I had a good time on my divine mission, even though I was putting in work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody around me, they playing. You know, they having fun. But they ain't doing the work that I'm doing. But I'm having fun doing the work that I'm doing. And I had somebody approach me when I was about to leave. And they came up to me and asked me, you know, tell me, why do you do, you know, they were specific, you know, about what I was doing. And I shared it with them. And they said, yeah, because, you know, me and my husband, we sit and watch you the whole time. And I commend you on your dedication and I think she said motivation, you know, because they see me working, you know. They see me working and they see the struggle. They see the difficulty, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think they see that spirit in me that was happy, was proud, even though I'm struggling. And a couple of times I had to take a break. I had to rest. Because when you work for God, you got to work the body. The body get tired and then you got to rest, you know. And that was satisfying, you know, that some recognized. Because a lot of people was watching me, but not all of them had the courage to ask me. Not only they seen what I was doing, but they didn't understand why. So they seen me physically doing something, but didn't mentally have the clarity to comprehend what I was doing. And you will never know what a person is doing until you ask. And when you ask, that's when you're ready for the truth. When you don't ask, you ain't ready, because you really don't want to know. Because you really want to know, you'll ask. You know what I'm saying? You'll make a request. The scriptures say you have not because you ask not. So family, keep it real with yourself. When you really want to know something, don't be ashamed to ask. It don't make you stupid. It don't make you dumb. You was already dumb before you asked. And I'm not trying to put you down. I'm just giving it to you raw. You know what I'm saying? Because being ignorant is being dumb. You know what I'm saying? Because the old system dumbed us down. They didn't give us right knowledge. You didn't do it to yourself, but you're doing it to yourself by continuing to follow the bad example that was given to all of us. You see what I'm saying? But you might ask, well, why did God, or why the Most High, why Lord Amari, why Allah, why the Creator, why Spirit allow us to be done this way? Because Spirit, Most High, Allah, Lord Amari, etc., knew that when you ready, that you was going to come up out of her. That you was going to start asking questions. And you was going to be free. Because as soon as you ask questions, the Most High, Allah, the Creator, Spirit, or Lord Amari, was going to send somebody to give you the answer that you're looking for. To free you from that situation, from that circumstances, even if it's not knowing. Because your Creator, Most High, Allah, Jah, knows that as soon as you ask the question, that's the day you start to experience freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth sets you free. And when you start seeking the truth, you start to obtain your freedom slowly but surely. But you got to be consistent with it. You got to create a momentum. Reason why you got to create a momentum, because you already create a momentum in the ignorance, in the dumbness, in the blindness. Okay? You've been operating without knowledge for so long, and that's a momentum, that's an energy. It's a low vibrational energy. So when you decide to come up out of that, you will start seeking outside the box that we all been put in coming up. Okay? And that's how you free yourself. That through that knowledge. Because the more knowledge you gain, the more power you have to bring about the necessary changes that you see that's necessary in your life. With that being said, fam, I pray and hope that my knowledge, my wisdom, my understanding was inspiring, motivating, and inspirational to you, to lead you to start asking questions to bring about changes in your life, making your life better. Why? Because you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? You are a child of the Most High Mother and Father. You're the child of Jah, child of Allah, child of the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? You are the child of the Creator. But you weren't raised that way. So since you weren't raised that way, now it's your responsibility to raise you. You know what I'm saying? And in raising you, you have to decide to seek that knowledge and be around and be receptive to the people that got the knowledge, like myself. But if you have problems with receiving knowledge from people, then you have a serious problem. And that problem is yours. And you have to live with that problem. So it's really self-torture. They got an old saying, I don't want to say that one, I want to create my own. So I'm going to put it like this. You are your own worst enemy. Okay? Because ain't no greater enemy than you. Because when you hold yourself down, other people can just help you hold yourself down. You know what I'm saying? But when it's time for you to lift yourself up, nobody can get in your way. Because it's not designed for anybody to keep you down. Only you can keep you down. So if you down and you blaming other people, you looking for a pity party. You looking to be acknowledged as a victim, and you want to be saved by somebody, like a lot of y'all Christians looking to be saved from Jesus, a Caucasian Jesus with long hair coming up out the sky that don't look nothing like the God that's described in the Bible. Your own scripture. You're looking for something the opposite of what your scriptures say. Proves my point. Deaf, dumb, and blind. Without knowledge, you're going to be stuck in that state of mind. I'm trying to give you the key to free yourself. But if you don't want it, my message is not for you. It's for those who are seeking to be free. Because that's the only ones I can aid and assist. I can't aid and assist nobody in nothing else other than divine love, divine truth, divine peace, divine freedom, and divine justice. You know what I'm saying? And no man possesses that. Okay? Even though I'm a man, I'm spirit man, I'm God man. Okay? So if you're just dealing with man without the God, without the God spirit, then you following a devil man. And he gonna lead you straight to hell. The hell in your mind. Okay? So if you got a hell in your mind, when you seek the truth, what you do is create a heaven in your mind. Who don't want to have a heaven in their mind? You're going to keep being deceived by the devil telling you that you can't experience heaven until you die physically? While he robs you of everything you could enjoy while you was on this earth? Because that's how our ancestors was taught. That's what they believed in. That's why they died never receiving their heaven. And they hoping you don't go for the same tricks and deception. Lift your thoughts to infinite wisdom. Seek knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And your ancestors are going to be proud of you. Your mama who's passed going to be proud of you. Your daddy who's passed going to be proud of you. Your sister, brother, cousin, whoever you love that's passed, they're going to be proud that you didn't fall for the same tricks. Okay? And then you can pass down a heaven to your children. What greater gift can you give your children other than a heavenly state of mind? To live peaceful, to live lovingly, to live free, to live receiving divine gifts and rewards from the inside out. It's great, fam. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, man, let me express I love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all Saturday. And keep love on your mind. If you don't got love on your mind, put love on your mind. If you don't know how to put love on your mind, look up love. And the definitions they give you from this bastard language that we practice, English. When you look the word up, find the definition that's most high vibrational, that's most positive, that would fit better with the Creator, with the Most High Mother and Father. That's the most respected, okay? The most positive, the most energetic. And you go with that, and you do your best, and learn from the experience, and do better each time, okay? Peace, fam. Y'all have a great one.